Award. So it is my privilege to present the Dissertation and Film Awards on Krista Welsh's behalf, who unfortunately has had to leave this morning. These two autoethnographic pieces are intuitively infused with womanist principles in that they express ideas and feelings in a form that is respectful and affectionate towards a community with others. Okay, so that was the common theme between these. And the first is the Dissertation Award, which again, Krista describes as a courageous, emotional, and socially engaged autoethnography that uses animation to distill and process trauma into a visual form that can be universally seen and felt. And that award goes to, who unfortunately is not with us today, but that goes to Susan Young for her dissertation. And the title of that dissertation is Bearing Witness, Autoethnographic Animation and the Metabolism of Trauma. So secondly, for the Film Award, which again, Krista describes as a beautiful and intimate psychogeography that memorializes love and kindness without nostalgia and connects the author's past lived experience that has so much resonance for many families and their children living in the city today. And I'm pleased that we do have the person who made this film. And so that award goes to Gayle Letherby. And fantastic award for you. Great. Thank you. And now I'm going to hand over to Trude for the Lifetime Contribution Award.
Dear autoethnographic friends, it is a great pleasure, honor, and the deepest respect that I stand here in front of you again. And I shall now introduce and announce the 2024 winner of the ICAE Lifetime Contribution in Autoethnography Award. Now, this tradition of giving out an annual autoethnography award is started in 2020, springing out of a deeply felt need to recognize, honor, and show gratitude to those who have made significant contributions to the development and nurturance of the field of autoethnography. This involves developing and nurturing autoethnography as a form of scholarship, as a way of relating to others, and also as a way of life. The award is meant to honor people who have contributed to the field of autoethnography in a variety of ways. And by doing so, they invite others to engage in an ongoing dialogue of what autoethnography can be and also become. This year's winner has, through a lifelong career, contributed to the teaching and scholarship and has inspired others to question, challenge, and develop what teaching and scholarship can be. She is someone who goes her own ways and invites others to do the same, staying true to her heart and urging others to do likewise. Without having heart and courage in what we do, we risk becoming useful marionettes. This year's winner has few marionette strings that others can pull to make her obey. She obeys what she believes in and comes forward as a person with heart and integrity. This year's winner has, through decades of dedication to teaching and scholarship, encouraged students and scholars to have integrity as their inner compass and to express their voice in creative and performative ways. The wonderful artist Patti Smith once said in an interview when talking about the importance of taking a stand, "I can sing, I can write poetry, I can pray, I can keep using my voice." I was just speaking with some students on Zoom about the limits on their expression. We were supposed to talk about poetry and the creative process, but soon it was more about the things that were worrying them, issues of appearance, gender, sexuality, and being themselves. What can I do except remind them that no matter what kind of oppression they face, they are who they are and they have their creative voice and inner world to keep nurturing even if the external freedoms become less and less. I find that we live in very troubled times. Climate changes, social inequalities, threats against democratic values are affecting the human and more than human lives and relations. While changing the world at times can seem a hopeless case, we can never stop holding on to the possibility and responsibility of raising our voices. Small and seemingly insignificant rings on the water can entail larger rings. Nurturing curiosity, creativity, and performativity in others are important in mobilizing courage and strength to raise one's voice and to stand up for oneself, for others, and even for the world. This year's winner is a creative force field in herself and in mobilizing creativity in others. And creativity is a force that cannot be taken from us, even in troubled times. Creativity enables alternative ways of thinking. It unblocks all patterns or habits of thinking and acting. While creativity can connect us to ourselves, more importantly, it can connect us with the hearts and souls of others. And by that, I mean not only the human hearts and souls, but with all that breathes with us in the natural world, all that we may take for granted and maybe not even notice. A lifetime contribution is not only about what you have done and achieved, check off this, but also about how you make others achieve and contribute, and about how contributing and achieving is best done in mutuality. We contribute and achieve through joint efforts, for inspiring each other to be and become something more together. This year's winner is characterized by a lifelong contribution of supporting, nurturing, challenging, informing, inspiring, and helping others to develop, learn, grow, and flourish. Her scholarship has been translated into multiple languages and has shaped generations of performance studies scholars and qualitative researchers, working at the intersections of autobiography, autoethnography, autocrittography, and collaborative autoethnographic writing. She has set the bar in theorizing performance pedagogy and critical performative responses as embodied practice and has paved the way for a performance paradigm on both the page and the stage. Many illustrious scholars within the international autoethnographic and performance studies community, and some of them are even here today, have learned from and been inspired by this year's winner. Last year, this year's winner gave us the beautiful metaphor of murmuration to sum up the experiences of attending the ICAE conference. And as we have learned at this conference, murmurations are huge groups of starlings that twist, turn, and swirl across the sky in beautiful shape-shifting clouds, finding new shapes and directions as they move together and join forces. This metaphor for the autoethnographic community and all that takes place when we meet, whether that be in person or digitally. It moved us in the committee so much that we decided to let murmuration be the theme for this year's conference. It's been quite a success, I must say. Yeah. And it seems typical for this year's winner. She inspires and gives to the community, not from an outsider position, but by joining in and becoming part of the directions and shapes that take place. The shapes or directions would not be the same without her. This year's winner inspires creative movements and formations, inviting us to be bold and innovative, but without ever losing sight of cohesion and community. The ICAE 2024 Lifetime Contribution Award goes to the truly courageous and inspiring teacher, artist, scholar, Dr. Elyse Pineau.
My. What a wonderful thing to meet at 4 o'clock in the morning before the sun rises here in the US. It is customary for the person to say a few remarks, and so I shall. When Trude first notified me of the committee's decision to honor me with this Lifetime Contribution Award, my immediate response in writing was, "Are you fucking serious?" I was gobsmacked. And I share that not just as an utterance of humility, although it is that, but to highlight that many of my contributions have unfolded in the ephemera of the spoken word rather than the printed page. And the academic cultures that many of us live in and move through have for too long maintained a hierarchy between the two. such that even a decade after my retirement, I am still haunted by internalized doubts of self-value regarding the efficacy or the reach of my work. And so it is into that doubt and discrepancy and the structural institutional obstacles which engendered it, a space I suspect I do not occupy alone, that I want to locate these brief remarks of gratitude. I am first and foremost a classroom teacher and a performing artist. I have always felt more alive, most vibrant in classrooms and workshops and rehearsal spaces, which is to say, in the immediacy of engaging the bodies of others face to face in their own unique trajectories of learning and growing within a community of seekers. I've lived my professional life dancing hopscotch across boxes that are differentially valued: talk or text, classroom or colloquium, performance or print, story or citation. And like many folk troubled by professional doubt, my concerns were not personal, they were political, because they arose from structural and institutional obstacles. In my first professional year and my first performance review by an academic dean, I was warned that in order to gain tenure, I was going to need to choose between whether I wanted to be a scholar or an artist and focus my labors accordingly. In a subsequent pre-tenure review, another dean suggested, in writing, that I find some way to write up and publish those creative activities that you're developing in the class, lest I be pigeonholed as, quote, an academic dog and pony show, rather than as a serious researcher appropriate to a doctoral program. And as a performance autoethnographer, emerging in my home discipline, where I claimed a voice within it, a former senior colleague said, she sure wished she could do that kind of work too, because then she'd never have to read anything or cite anything. You know, navel-gazing sans bibliography.
You do. I've got some good news for you, hopefully. You've won the ICAE 11 2024 Dissertation Award. It's just been announced.
And congratulations to them. Times have changed over 3 decades. And for many of you gathered here, those anecdotes I shared may seem like distant echoes of unenlightened times. But for many others, including some gathered here, you may be laboring in disciplinary or institutional or geographic spaces that have little acceptance, much less support for autoethnographic work. And so such disparagement and doubt may remain stingingly relevant. And so I am exceedingly proud that you all believe that my work has helped contribute to that shift and that it is continuing to do so. Yes, sometimes I have spurred that paradigmatic change through articles, lit review articles with really long bibliographies, trying to build scaffolds between performance theory and critical pedagogy. Sometimes I have done it on stage in solo performances about the tenderness and tensiveness of familial relations between mothers and child. Hopefully, I am continuing to do it simply by trying to model in public spaces like this what it might look like or sound like to be an engaged listener, an articulate witness, an impassioned speaker who loves language and knows that the poetic voice is never a luxury, but an essential way of remaking a world worth living in and sharing. So I want to close with a metaphor for professional contribution, because I do love metaphors that move, especially if they alliterate. And today's metaphor is the image of matryoshka, those Russian nesting dolls, if you can picture them, wooden figures that can be opened to reveal a series of smaller and smaller figures nested within the original body. But I invoke them not for the traditional matrilineal mythos of mother carrying within her body future generations, but rather the reverse of that. Would that I have been the smallest of dolls, the generative seed of an idea, of a concept, of a way of seeing and being, around which each consecutive generation or cohort grows larger, more expansive, more substantive, more fierce in the world, in ways that original seed could never have imagined. And so in that spirit, I accept this award as recognition that perhaps some of the seeds that I have planted have indeed borne fruit. I think there is no more meaningful legacy, and I thank you all most deeply for marking it here with this award. Thank you so much.